Hi, this is Aaron, and today we're going to talk about the LG Ally. Now, this phone has been out for some time, I know, but I've had it for a little while and kind of wanted to share with you now that it's basically the budget Android phone on Verizon. Not that it's a bad phone, it's just the inexpensive one. I've heard of it being around $20 for some with a contract or a 2-year contract on Verizon. Not bad, and I think they even have some deals where it's buy one for 20, get one free or something like that that I've heard of. So depending where you live, it could be a pretty good price to get into Android for the first time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the outside of the phone first and some specs. The display is a 480 by 800 pixel display, and it's 3.2 inches. It's a capacitive multi-touch screen. Along the bottom here we have our answer button or phone button, home, menu, and the hang up or sleep wake button. We also have a capacitive touch search button and the back button. On the top we have our speaker for our ear. On this side we have our volume rocker up and down. Here we have a little door we can open that has our micro USB in there. On the back we have our 3.2 megapixel camera with flash. We have a speaker down here. On the top we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On this side we have our camera button and our micro SD slot, which actually contains a 4 gigabyte card standard, and that's upgradable as any. On the bottom we don't have much going on, and that's pretty much it. But when we slide it, we do have a full QWERTY keyboard with raised keys that feel very nice when you're pushing them. The one complaint I might have about the keyboard is the spacebar is a little bit small, but you get used to that pretty quick. And they did that to incorporate this touch or not touch, or click navigation tool here with an OK button in the middle for like an enter. Let's go ahead and close that. Now let me show you size-wise. This phone is a little bit smaller, but here's the Droid 2, and you can see, I guess it doesn't look too much smaller, but well, it's really the screen that's smaller, not the external dimensions per se. On the side it is a little bit thicker, but not too bad. Processor-wise though, this is a 600 megahertz processor. It has 256 megabytes of RAM with 512 megabytes of ROM. It runs Android 2.1 and basically is a decent phone overall. It incorporates a 1500 milliamp battery in the back. Before we go into the UI, we'll show you the back. So here's your 1500 milliamp hour battery, and that's good for 7.5 hours of talk time on average and 500 hours of standby. And actually it's 7 hours average talk time, but 7.5 hours is what LG claims you'll get out of the phone with the battery. So let's go into the UI. The UI is pretty standard Android. Here's our sleep wake button. Go to sleep. You can hit on any of these buttons, but that's our sleep wake. Slide to mute, slide to unlock. So there's the typical kind of stock Android. We have our normal Google search bar on top with our voice commands. And this is stock. I have not changed any of these settings where it is. Runs pretty fast overall. One of the advantages I think of this phone is it has kind of what the Nexus 1 looks like with our menu, with our app drawer here. We'll hit that and you can see they kind of zoom in. And as I scroll this here, you'll see they'll kind of bend over on the top. And the capacitive touchscreen feels very nice. It's very sensitive. We can scroll. You can see they kind of fold on the bottom and the top. Really nice, and you'll see that it'll zoom back out when I hit home. Really nice little standard Android app drawer. We'll scroll. You've got YouTube, your camera and gallery, and more space for widgets and things. On this side we have our quick access to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and here we go, refresh, and there's our brightness. Turn that back down so you can see it. We've got Google Talk, Socialite, and more space here. We can quickly go back or we can go back to home with the home button. So that's pretty standard Android, but overall it's a pretty nice phone. There isn't a whole lot UI-wise, but let me show you. I've got Zollotech loaded up here. Speeds are pretty good on here, and you do have pinch to zoom that responds pretty well. You can see. Works like you'd expect. And double tap. Well, it's not quite working how I'd like, but normally, there you go, double tap to zoom. It's a lot easier to pinch to zoom, but responsive wise, it's pretty good. So speed-wise, you know, when you get into multitasking, it's going to slow down a little bit more as it's got that 600 megahertz processor, but memory-wise isn't bad, so I don't think you'll be disappointed. The number one factor why someone may want to avoid this phone is probably screen size. But other than that, it's pretty good. It is a little bit thick bulk-wise, but not bad. Now, the one other thing I forgot to point out is on the front here, this is actually a light indicator. Right above my thumb, you see this indent here. It's an indicator to let you know when you have a message or when the phone is fully charged or is getting low on a battery. It's a little LED, and that's pretty convenient when you want to know that. And there's also proximity sensors on here as well. You can kind of see right above my thumb there. So there's not much more to get into. Overall, the LG Ally is a nice phone, especially for the price. If you're looking to get into Android and want a smartphone that has good battery life, it's fairly compact, a little bit bulky, but fairly compact, and is pretty much, you know, full Android, or not pretty much, but is a full Android phone for a very reasonable price. So check it out if you are not into Android yet and don't have a lot of money to spend on something like the Droid 2. Check this one out. You may be pleasantly surprised at what you have, especially if you're looking for a phone with a QWERTY keyboard on it. This is Aaron. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and comment, and we'll see you next time.